Hello, lovely beings. I'm JJ Rose. We're going to talk about alchemy, initiation, and spiritual awakenings, and the hero's journey. There's an order to spiritual awakenings, which pretty much are the same as initiations and the hero's journey, and they follow alchemy to a T. Now, witchcraft has often been described as spicy psychology, and I love that. And it really is, except it has an energetic component which will surpass any mind only therapy because you have a vested interest of energy in the work. How many people do you know that have gone to therapy over and over and over again for years and they never get better? But then they end up seeing a healer or an energy worker or practitioner, and all of a sudden it just heals itself. Again, it's because they put their energy into it, not just talking about it. But it is a very important part, the talking about it and becoming mindful and aware. Because how can you truly heal something if you don't even know what's broken to begin with or how deep it really goes? So, I'm going to go over the various steps of alchemy, initiation, and spiritual awakening in more of an alchemical terminology. I was very, very blessed. We have an Egyptian museum nearby, which is actually owned and run by the Rosicrucian Order. And about 15 years ago, they put in a room for alchemy. And it's a giant room with all these wonderful posters, and it shows you the different stages of alchemy. But if you know how to read it, you can understand how it really goes into the personal part of alchemy and how at the end, you, the very essence core of you are the philosopher's stone. So, why am I bringing this up? Why couldn't I just have you read a book on this or, list these off in a meme? Because there are so many people right now who want to spiritually bypass. They just want the answers, they want it all, they want it now, and they don't want to do any of the work for it. And it's extremely arrogant to think that you get to know everything just because you want to know. You have to understand fully the information. And there's so much information out there right now that most people do not fully understand. And the reason they don't understand it is because they have not been readied. They are not ready to understand it on a deeper level. I'm sure many of you who've read, whether it's a book or the Bible or other spiritual or religious texts, if you read it years ago before your spiritual awakening, it might have gone over your head or it might have been one thing. And then you read it again and it hits different. And you read it again further in your journey and it hits different again. And that's because you're being readied. You understand it different. You're being perfected. You're being honed. And I've talked about this honing and refining in a previous episode, the Meaning of Life episode. And I read a poem at the end of that I will read to you again at the end of this. It really ties all of this together. So many people, well, what's the meaning of life? Or when am I going to understand my life's purpose? Or what can I do to understand my gifts? You have to do the inner work in order to understand any of this. You have entities and spirits that are around you all the time right now. They're trying to talk to you. They're sending you signs and synchronicities, and you're not getting it because you have not chosen to fully complete your personal alchemization. You have to be initiated in order to continue leveling up. When you were 5 years old, your parents put you in kindergarten. They didn't immediately put you in professorial college classes, right? Because you need that foundation. You need your ABCs, your numbers, You need to learn how to crawl before you walk. And that's what all of this is about, is getting you to the point that when you get these messages, these signs, these synchronizations, that you can understand them on a very deep level, and that you yourself will be what and who you need to be to understand and accept this information. So let's get started with the steps. First things first, there's a lot of you that are going to think, and you're going to hear all these steps, and you're going to think, well, I've already gone through that. I've got news for you. It doesn't stop. Yes, most of you are going to have one big one of these in your life. And it's usually what got you to the point that you're even listening or know who I am. That's going to be a big one, but you are going to continue to have these in different aspects of your life. Some of you are right smack dab in the middle of one of these, but you get stuck on a step. And to each their own, everyone at their own pace. And if you try to rush through these, I'm telling you that doesn't work. Spirit is going to walk you through them as quickly or as slowly as you need, because again, spiritual bypassing. Stop looking at this as a race. Stop looking at it as, well, I've cleared, I'm done, I'm good. Well, then what's your purpose for being here? Your purpose for being here is to be consistently and constantly refined, honed, and used and perfected to move forward the light and your work and that of the people around you. If you were born absolutely perfect with all of this done, you wouldn't be in a human body. Just saying. Okay. So the first thing that happens is you're called. It's sudden, it's without warning, and life starts to tremble and quake. There are questions. There is a deep inner longing for something that you're not able to put a label on. You don't even know what it is that you're yearning for. Hungry almost. But you don't exactly know what yet. This can almost feel like a depression in the beginning because, again, you know that you're yearning or you're hungry for something, but what? And there's a slight inner knowing that what is now in your life will no longer be soon enough. And that can also breed a sadness or a depression. Imagine you had a family member and you know that they're terminal and they're healthy right now and you're enjoying them, but you know they're not going to be around forever. That leads to some solace, to some pause. And even though you're very happy in the moment, you know this moment isn't going to last forever. Typically, at this time, teachers start to arrive in your life. It can be physically new people show up. It can be all of a sudden your algorithm changes a little on socials and you start getting videos about things that you've never really heard of before that are kind of sparking interest. And people start showing up in your life very oddly. New people typically. Sometimes there's people you've known from way back when, and they just kind of suddenly re-pop up. And you're like, oh, I always kind of ignored this person because they were woo-woo or they were a little weird. But all of a sudden now they're like in your face. And this is the stage being set because the show is about to begin. This is when we start the black phase of alchemy, which is, in essence, an ego death. And with death of anything, it's normally never really pretty. In the beginning, it's burn it down. The alchemical term for that is calcination. This is a very disruptive phase in your life. Your beliefs, anything that no longer serve you, people in your life that no longer serve where you're going almost get burnt up. They are gone very, very quickly. This can typically be a time with a lot of arguments, a lot of cutting people off suddenly, sudden spats where you're just not going to talk to someone again. Very confusing times. You're going to feel differently about people. People that maybe you hung out with all the time, all of a sudden, you're just not able to stand them anymore. Their voice is great on you, their physical presence is annoying. You don't want to do the same things that you've normally been doing. Your patterns are being broken. The element of this phase of alchemy is lead. And I want you to think of this time as you are shedding the dead lead weight of who you were, your false and limiting beliefs. You are no longer who you were, but you don't quite know who you are or who you will be just yet. You might call this the dark night of the soul, but it is a very burning and tumultuous time. I want you to think fire, very heavy lead. This is a very heavy time with a lot of sparks. And then we go into phase 2. The alchemical term is disillusion, and the term I'm saying is drowning. This is a water phase. This is when the fire is being quickly put out. And now you feel like you went from the fire to you're drowning. Imagine this as an extremely long and very involved baptism. That which remained hot from the fire is now to be steeped out of you. That which no longer serves you is being taken away by the water. You are like a tea, and that which no longer serves you is being steeped out of you. Being boiled is another way to put this. And sometimes it's like the frog being boiled. You didn't realize you were even being boiled at first until all of a sudden it's very hot in here. But again, it's water. So a deeply emotional time, lots of crying, typically around this time. And it makes sense if you think about it. You just went through this extremely fiery, hot time, all these arguments, people, disruption in your life, right? And now you're sitting in here and like a tea, you're being steeped, and all this stuff is now coming out of you. And so it's a big, heavy time of emotional purging. And yes, it's not exactly fun, but remember when you cry, your body is detoxing, not only with the emotional purging that it's doing, but crying actual tears actually detoxes your body. So physically, you're detoxing, as well as emotionally, you're detoxing. And now that we've gone through that black phase, which is so much fun, now we're entering the white phase of alchemy, which is joining the soul and the spirit. This time I call separating the wheat from the chaff. In alchemical terms, it is labeled as separation. This is a time that many feel like a lot of loss. And in reality, anytime you lose something, anytime something is taken away, you're making room. So keep that in your mind. If you're in this phase of it, or if you've been in that phase before, or if you're coming to that phase, remind yourself, yes, it seems like a lot of loss, but I'm making room. You're going to be filtering out old beliefs, old people, old habits. All of that is going away. And not so chaotic as in the black phase with all of the fire and the, tears and disruption. This phase is a little different. This is a phase where you are mindfully seeing, oh, these people don't work for me anymore in my life. I need some separation. Think of purging emotionally and physically and mentally as well. That which no longer serves you is leaving. It serves no purpose. And now you realize it serves no purpose. It has no function. It's like realizing all of these false beliefs and people and things have just been taking up room. And what they're doing is they've been preventing you from moving new stuff in. So you're purging emotionally, physically, mentally. There's a lot of cord cutting in this time period. You could suddenly feel really sick around people, sudden and very hot departures of people as well. So remember, the first couple phases of this, there's like a lot of getting rid of stuff, right? And that can be dramatic, and then sometimes it can be a little less dramatic. The point that I'm making with all of this that I hope is getting across is for you to understand these things so that you're not fighting, clawing, and trying to hold on when it's very clear, like all the signs are there saying, let it go, drop the hot coal. But yet you're got it in a vice grip and are strangling it because you don't want to let go because you're scared. It's okay. Just release your grip a little bit and let the universe take the toy away that needs to go in the trash. This separating the wheat from the trash, or the separation, this is a time of iron. Now, in alchemy, iron is actually the ruler of this part, Mars. So you want to think anger, very heavy male energy, right? Remember, males naturally have more iron in their bodies than females do. So this is a very masculine, male sided, heavy part of your life. It's going to be very hot. Typically, iron is made for weapons. So, like I said, there's a bit of a ruckus happening, but that's okay because now we enter into the next time, which is the sacred marriage of opposites, aka conjunction. This is where the spiritual starts to manifest into the physical. This is when you start understanding, oh, all that chaos and drama that I just went through, this is what it's all about. Because again, sometimes the universe has to completely break you down in order to build you back up. This is the time when your male and female sides are going to start to blend together in a more perfect union. Think balance, balancing. Male and female sides are starting to stabilize. The divine feminine starts to emerge. And this does not matter if you're male or female biologically or what you identify as. This is the divine feminine within all of us starts to emerge. And you start to realize all the things you thought about the feminine, right? Whatever you categorize that as, you start to see it's a little bit different than you thought. Yes, she is very sweet and kind and soft, but she's also extremely strong. And she can go through pretty much everything. And although she is strong, she's malleable and she's conductive. Think energy, right? Energy flows through conductive materials. In alchemy, this conjunction portion is ruled by Venus and the element of copper. Now, what's interesting is biological females have more copper in their bodies than males. So again, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. There's like a whole backstory with all of that if you know your history. But the reason I bring that up is because now we're a little more copper dominant, right? So we went from the male to iron, hot. And now we're starting to cool off a little bit. And now we're getting molded. And now spirit is coming through stronger. And we're starting to see, oh, there's the blend. Because everyone is both. You all have male and female sides of you. For those of you that have listened to my advanced episode 3 with Alan Bishop from If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, you'll remember that we joked about the Gnostic marriage. And that was because he and I coming together for that episode was, in a way, a conjunction and a union of the male and the female in order to make that 3-part series. He and I were the culmination of it. He also, by the way, if you have Ghosts, you have everything, has 2 incredible episodes on alchemy that I know I've mentioned before, but if you want to go give them a listen again, I think they're wonderful and great. So we've now gone through this white phase. So we've gone through the black phase, we've gone through the white phase, and now we're entering the red stage of alchemy, which is empowerment. That sounds fun, doesn't it? And this is the blending of the spirit, soul, and body. And in alchemical terms, this is fermentation. This is when the merging of all parts of you starts to begin. Life becomes easier. You're able to feel on all levels of your being now: mind, body, soul, spirit, all of it. Messages start coming quickly and easily. Typically, you have a lot of synchronicities during this time. You're gathering a lot of information. A lot of information is coming at you, but it's at a pace that you can handle. Sometimes it feels like a little bit much and you need a break, but that's okay. But the information is coming forth because you are being fed exactly what you need now. And every time you turn around, there's another sign that's propelling you a little bit forward, a little bit forward. You've got this huge spirit team behind you while you're running this race that you think you're all alone in, and they're all cheering you on. But every time you turn around, you need a drink of water, someone's there. They got the Gatorade for you. You're a little hungry, someone's there. Put the power bar in your mouth. Like, you keep going, you keep going. Someone's telling your face off. Like, you're good, you are supported. And you're finally starting to feel that in this phase. But like fermentation, you're growing, right? And then we get to distillation. And this is honing one's self. Your essence is now made to be potent. You are empowered. But remember, the more you are purified, the more concentrated you become. And in this phase, you will see people typically doing fasting or extreme diets. Their eating changes. Sometimes people will become vegan or, go to a different type of diet or do water cleanses or eat whatever they eat. People eat a lot of weird stuff. But that being said, do not spiritually bypass, please. Okay? Diet is important, but if you do no internal work, you're still dirty inside. And this is why you will find a lot of people in the spiritual community who do all the physical things right. They're borderline neurotic with them, right? The diet and the exercise and the yoga and the meditating and the this and the that. And they wear all the crystals and, live in a giant salt crystal bathtub, whatever. But there's still something off. It's because they're not doing the internal work. Great, their physical body is like wonderful, but inside, that work inside has to happen. During this phase, you are like silver. I want you to think of what silver does. It's antimicrobial, it's antiviral. You are now allergic to bullshit. You, my dear, are now the colloidal silver in the water. You go to a party, you're around other people, the people who are fake or the vibes are off, they don't want to be around you. They're going to quickly leave your sight because your energy is pure. And you are almost like a human BS detector at this point. Even if you don't know it, like you just showed up to the party, you don't know who anybody is, and suddenly some people flee from you. Do not feel bad if that happens because they're not able to handle your vibration. Your energy now is pure, and maybe they want to fake someone out or they want to get over on somebody. They instinctually can feel they're not going to pass the vibe check with you. And so they are going to remove themselves. And in this part of the alchemical process, it's the moon. You're very full, you're bright, right? This is a wonderful time of self empowerment. And now there's one more step, but wait, there's more. And the final step in the alchemical term is coagulation. And I deem this part get to work. This is a time when the conglomeration of soul, spirit, and body have occurred. You are completely and utterly aligned. Physically, you know what's going on with your body before anyone else does. Emotionally, you already know what's going on before it's fully manifested itself. You are clear, you are concise, you are doing it. The spiritual connection that you have is loud, it's in tune, and you fully understand what's going on. You might not be able to put that in words all the time, but you know. In alchemical terms, this is deemed the new salt. It is unburnable, unflappable, and unable to be diluted. Just think about that. Like a diamond, right? The process to make diamonds is that coal has to be under all this pressure, right? For a good long while. And then out pops this glorious diamond. This thing that's not able to be diluted takes a lot to break a diamond. You are now the philosopher's stone. You are tried, tested, purified, honed, perfected. Think of the end of the hero's journey. You're new. You're no longer who you were. You're a new version of the best parts of who you were and are at your soul core essence. And you are new, incorruptible, and brilliant. Which is interesting because the alchemical term of this phase is gold, the sun, and light. I hope that this information is made clear to you, the process, as well as hopefully taken a little bit of the edge off of some of the things that you've gone through, that you don't feel like the universe has been a big bully with you. I'm wishing you all to grow and to thrive and to strive to be better in all ways. I will have a link to the episode and time stamp in which I talked about the channel reading that has to do with all of this. You can find that in the information below. I love you all, and Carpe Diem.